Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Friday, September 29th. This is the live show we do every day, 10:30 Eastern Time. I'm running solo today. Marty Ice, of course, has the day off today, and so I am running solo today. And yeah, a lot of interesting stuff today. Coming off a small winning day again, another winning day. 3-2 in MLB. I tripled up on the Cleveland total, so I went 3-2 in MLB, and of course, cashed the college football under like that one, and wound up going way under. Texas did wind up covering. Iowa State was not, in retrospect, a good bet as a home dog. I knew that one made me a little bit nervous, but so yeah, 4-2 yesterday, 3-2 in MLB. Another profitable day, and we've got a bunch of different sports tonight, and I do have some picks in all of them, basically. Again, not necessarily locks by any means, but picks that I bet and things that I'm liking, as it was the case yesterday, and as will be the case this weekend. MLB very, very dicey, uncertain who's going to be in the lineups especially as teams clinch. We saw yesterday that Minnesota rested a whole bunch of guys in their lineup, and we might see the same thing today with Washington. Washington, of course, is being very liberal with how much they're resting their stars. Cleveland might start resting guys. Everyone might start resting guys. The Dodgers. So MLB is very dicey. You have to check the lineups right before first pitch to make sure that there's nothing unexpected there. Still a couple of things that I did take a shot with on the overnight lines. So there are a couple of baseball plays that I'll be able to give today. 5 games had no overnight lines. 10 of them did. So it's definitely an interesting day. I don't have any. I can go over the college football slate of games in terms of what my leans are as of now and some bets that I've made. I didn't have time to do my in-depth research on the Saturday card. I'm going to get to that today, and I will have all of that information tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. when I do the regular show every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. with Big Man on Campus, and we'll have a whole bunch of college football picks tomorrow, I assume. But for today, I'm going to have to take it pretty lightly and probably not add anything. After last night's win, though, 29-20 ATS in my college football picks that I've given publicly so far this year. So that, and 4-1 in NFL. All right, so let's get some quick comments here, and then we'll get into the multiple slates of games. Let's see. Steven Stucci, Ernest Huffman, what's up? Everyone, what's up? Okay, yeah. Brendan Cummings, Loshak, great pick on that under, buddy, for the early Cleveland game. Yeah, it actually, and that actually is a, if you look at what my picks were, I picked a lot of first 5 innings, and I also picked the full game, but it was at 8.5, and it went quickly down. That's why I gave it in the first minute of the show, if you noticed. My pick on that one was the first minute of the show. So that pick came out at 10:32 Eastern time or whatever it was, and it went down quickly. And I said I still liked it at 7.5, but it was close at the end. Could have easily gone to an 8, which is another indication of why you need to, always get the best line. If that last run had scored, then the 8.5 under would have cashed, 7.5 under would have lost. Glad that everyone who betted at 7.5 though cashed, and anyone who tailed my first half plays on that one, of course, cashed easily. So yeah, that was one of these classic sort of like unique spots late in the regular season where you see this in all sports actually. And Minnesota had just clinched. They're sitting all their guys and a lot of their big bets, and it was an early game, just an easy call on the under there. All right, so let's see. What else do we have here? Let's quickly. Let's see. Oh, Brendan Cummings saying, "Yes, sir, I did. You are amazing when it comes to handicapping, sir." Thank you so much, Brendan Cummings. Well, look, I'm experienced and I put in my best effort. So, you would hope that if you have those 2 things going for you, you'll come out with decent results. But not always. It's definitely a struggle. Whatever I've done yesterday or last year, whatever, means nothing as far as today or tomorrow is concerned. If I don't maintain my my edge. So let's see. AJ Scratch saying thanks. Your picks made me 3-0 last night. Very nice. Dave Danders saying, except on NFL. What's he talking about? I'm 4-1 on NFL, Dave Danders. Last night I passed on the Bears game. I had no plays on that one. It was an interesting game, but definitely I didn't have any official picks on that one. I'm doing all right, Dave. I'm also top 50 in the Give Me the Bag contest, which is NFL only. So yeah, it's just that this year, because of my schedule, most of my NFL stuff I'm doing Saturday night / Sunday morning. So there's no shows, and I do want to tweet it out, but it's just like I get a little bit nervous when it comes to tweeted picks. It's much easier for me to give my picks in these videos because I can give the full, analysis and everything and the full breakdown as opposed to a tweet where you can just give a pick. But yeah. All right. Okay. There you go. Yes. Brendan Cummings saying the key to being successful is winning more than you lose, and you have that down easily. Yes. Thank you, Brendan Cummings. And the key to being successful is bet sizing appropriately, because even if you win more than you lose, if your bet sizes are inappropriate, you will still lose money. So the key to being successful is winning more than you lose and bet sizing appropriately. That is absolutely true, Brendan Cummings, because the losing will happen, and if you bet size appropriately, you don't get bankrupted by the downs that will happen, that are guaranteed to happen no matter what your winning percentage is. All right. Okay. So Dallas Starboss saying, Pete, I got my ass tore up last night. LOL. Yeah. Maybe you were on. Look, maybe you were on Iowa State. Look, I didn't bet Texas last night, but I felt like it was a very sketchy situation as far as the spread was concerned. Just took the under. All right. So there we go. Okay. All right. So Andrew Lavery saying, I enjoy your MLB analysis, Pete. MLB has a lot of variance, and having bankroll management very important. Yes, Andrew Lavery, absolutely. All right, so let's get to some. Let's see. Had a bad day yesterday. Time to bounce back. Anything on this Friday football card standing out from Conrado Mendoza? Okay, let's see. Lou's got making more jokes. All right, so. Let's see. Yes, on the Friday football card, some interesting games, some scary situations. Obviously, the BYU Utah State is a very wacky handicapping situation. The question here is, how much is BYU going to be able to bounce back here? And even with Utah State, we still don't really know what we're going to get from them because they've blown out weak teams and gotten blown out by tough teams. Obviously, BYU's big issue is offensively. Do they have the offense to put up points against anyone? And another issue here is that BYU did have a quote unquote players only meeting. So supposedly they had a players only meeting. They're pissed. They're going to try to get focused. They're going to try to show people who the real BYU is, all that stuff. So there was the old famous players only meeting from BYU. Of course, they're also off of a bye, so they have extra rest on this one. So there's a lot of things that make me want to take BYU here. But the negative, of course, is that they're just so anemic on offense. They didn't add any offensive weapons through JUCOs or through recruiting, and I think they're hamstrung a little bit by the lack of weapons that they have on offense. So that's a really tough one. I guess I'm probably going to pass on that one. There's strong reasons to take BYU. I think they're going to improve here significantly. The question is, will they improve enough to be more than 50% to get a win over Utah State team that is obviously getting it done offensively and probably will be able to have at least some success offensively against BYU. Maybe a shot with the under. I know that Utah State is ramping it up, playing much more up-tempo offense here, but I have to assume that BYU is going to try to slow things down offensively and play really tough on defense. So I'm not sure I'd want the over here either. I'd probably lean to the under, but I guess I'm going to pass on that. One bet that I will admit that I did make, and might have some value. I don't know if I like it enough to give it as an official pick, but it is definitely Illinois at home against Nebraska. Now, Illinois, of course, a very, very, very young team. I think they started like 10 true freshmen last week. Ridiculously young for Illinois, but they are off a bye, so they have extended rest here. And Nebraska, they do have some talent, but just a team that is just underwhelming, underachieving, not getting it done. I thought if there was ever a spot where Nebraska would be a good bet against the spread, it was last week against Rutgers. They even struggled at home against Rutgers. So, here they're going on the road against Illinois. Nebraska has the talent to get a margin win here, just like Texas did last night. But, I don't think that Nebraska just has the team chemistry and the overall spirit to be a good bet here, giving as many points as they're giving. Obviously, Illinois, has some issues. They're lacking in talent, lacking in experience, lacking in everything. But they're at home, they're getting points, they're off a bye. So you know what? I will give that one. It makes me nervous though that the Greek is hanging 6, appears to have a lead to Nebraska. It was a 7, of course, obviously much earlier in the week. That would be much more preferable. Now it's 5.5 market wide. The Greek has 6, so I'll give 6 minus 115. Illinois plus 6 minus 115. Again, it's definitely it's risky. all these plays, you can make a good argument for the other side. That's why there's no, free money being given away in sports betting. But I'm going to take Illinois. Nebraska has just underwhelmed game in and game out. Even if they do get a big lead, could easily see them giving it back. Illinois is young and lacking in talent, but they should come in here, hyped up and fully prepared. And they're also getting healthy. Nebraska has some injuries, so I'll give that one as an official pick, added to my record, and I will take the Greeks line right now, which is +6, -115. It's 5.5 other places in the market. Illinois +6, -115 is a definite pick. Again, the Brigham Young, the BYU Utah State game, so tough. I would love to take a bounce back by BYU here, but again, I don't know if they just have the offense to keep up with Utah State, so that's going to be a pass for me. Then the Duke Miami Florida game is very, very interesting. I was thinking about a shot with the over on this one. I was talking all week long about how I kind of like the over. It's gone down a bit, down to a 55.5 or 55. It was 56 when I previewed this game earlier in the week. Obviously, Miami Florida has a great defense, and they can hold Duke down. Not sure that Duke has the playmakers at receiver to challenge them, but it's a relatively low total. I do think Duke will get a little bit exposed here on defense, and Miami's deep weakness has been the secondary. Is Duke going to be able to challenge them? I don't know. This year they've been the running game is where they've been more productive offensively. So it would if they are able to do something in the air against Miami, it'll be showing something offensively that they haven't shown so far this year. But they do have a quarterback who is someone I'm willing to bet on, at least to get points, if not necessarily to get covers. Again, Duke doesn't have any pass catchers that really scare you, but I think they should be good enough offensively to get the game over a modest total. And again, I also think that Duke is going to have a problem defensively here with what Miami will bring to the table offensively. And so I do like the over. I'm concerned that the total has gone down, but I will add it to my official slate of college football picks this week. 55 or 55.5 is the line right now, so I will take 55. Bookmaker, DSI, BetOnline, and SportsBetting.ag all have 55 -110. Pinnacle and the Greek have 55.5. Duke might employ a dink and dunk offense here to try to rein Miami in. But if they get down, then they're going to have to. And again, I just feel like Duke is going to have to try to get something done offensively through the passing game, because they know that that's Miami's weakness. And I think Miami should be productive offensively. It's a tough one, but I will take the over 55 in Miami Duke. Add that to Illinois +6. And then the other game is USC and Washington State. And now I'm annoyed because earlier in the week I said that I liked the under at 65 when I previewed that game with I forgot who I previewed it with, but I think it was Al McMorty, and it was 65 then. I liked the under. Last night it was 62. I was thinking I was still going to give it at 62. Now it's down to 61 or 60.5. Intertops has 61. I think that USC's defense is going to present Washington State with a lot firmer of a test than they've seen this year, and USC is probably going to employ a run-heavy game plan here to try to keep the ball out of Luke Falk's hands. So I like the over. I bet it at 65. I mentioned that I liked it at 65 in the Al McMorty call. I should have given it at that number, but now if I want to add it on, it's at 61. I guess I do still like it a bit at 61, but it makes me nervous. I'm going to have to think about that for a bit. But as of right now, some people are probably commenting on the Miami Duke over. And Andrew Lavery saying Miami struggled against Toledo last week in the beginning. In the first half. In the second half, they opened it up, and it's Miami. I think also clearly has a talent edge here over Duke, and Duke also coming off of a couple of big games in a row, and that was a big rivalry win against North Carolina last week, and Miami of course had they're still chomping at the bit to have big performances. Of course, they've only played 2 games so far, so the fact that Miami struggled against Toledo last week. In the first half only is, okay, you can chalk that up to a little bit of rust, and then the second half they really ramped it up. So all right, so yeah, I would lean Miami tonight, similar to a Texas last night. I think that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Duke wins the first half or something like that. But I think that the spot and the talent edge for Miami overall on the field indicates that an edge to them. But again, Duke is a very well coached team. Cutcliffe knows how to game plan well for big games, which this clearly is, and they overachieve. Don't like betting against Duke as a home dog, just like Iowa State last night. But in this spot, I would lean Miami minus the points at anything under 7. And I did give the over 55 an official pick. My only concern there is if Duke really slows down the pace, which they might do, to try to limit the advantage that Miami has in athleticism. But if Miami does jump out to a big lead, then that won't be a good game plan for Duke. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I like, the quarterback for Duke, and I like the, what Miami has on offense against Duke's defense, even though Duke's been great against the run so far this year. But, this is a different animal, though, playing against the Miami running game. So we'll see. I'm on the over 55. I took it. I was leaning that way earlier in the week. I was also leaning under 65, damn it, in USC Washington State. I bet it. I didn't give it officially, though, and now it's down to 60.5 or 61. All right, that's it for college football. Moving on to CFL, I did mention earlier in the week that the Montreal-Calgary game on the under was a play that I was liking. I got it at 49.5, and it's still 49.5. Pinnacle has 49. Not quite totally sure why the line hasn't gotten bet down a little bit, at least a little bit, considering how Montreal plays. We know how they play, and Calgary is likely to be amenable to that kind of a game. So I like the under on that one, and I also have a small lean to the under on the other game that just came out, Ottawa against Saskatchewan. They are both coming off of short window. I think Saskatchewan's the only one coming off a short week, but Ottawa's quarterback was out last week, so I'm leaning the under on that one, 50 or 50.5. Of course, I'm not making official picks and counting them in CFL this year. I'll do it next year, but this year I just didn't start at the beginning of the year. So those are 2 bets that I did make in CFL, and then the WNBA game, Minnesota and LA. Again, I picked LA as an underdog in the first 2 games, and in this game, have to pick Minnesota as an underdog here. Again, I think, these 2 teams are very, very, very evenly matched. I would actually probably give an edge to Minnesota in terms of talent. I think they got a wake-up call in the first game, coming out, getting down so big early. And, the second game, they came out strong. Not saying LA doesn't win this one. LA could win it by 4 or more, but feels much more likely than not to once again go down to the wire like the first 2 games did. So I bet that one as well. Plus 3.5, Minnesota against LA. The total, I have no opinion on. LA was a very, very strong under-trender at home this year. I think they were like 3-14 over-under, 14 out of their 17. Something ridiculous. Very strong under-trender at home. Of course, the first game these guys played went way over. Second game went way under. I guess I would have an extremely teeny lean to the under more than the over, but I didn't bet that one. I'm not going to. I did bet Minnesota plus 3.5, and that would be my pick there. So I did bet Minnesota plus 3.5, the under in both CFL games, and in college football, I bet Illinois and the Duke-Miami over. I did also bet the USC-Washington State game, but I bet that one much earlier in the week when it was 65. And Al McMorty gave the opinion that he liked Washington State at 4.5. It's now up to 6. So money obviously coming in on USC. I can understand why that would be. It's tough. USC knows that they, have been a little bit sluggish and underwhelming recently. So the reports are around the team that they're going to come in here and try to have a stronger game. But, Washington State is a formidable opponent. Not easy to go there into that, place and get a margin win. So the side, I think, is a pass for me. I don't even know which way I would lean as of right now at 6. But I did bet the under at 65. I don't know if I can give it a 61, though. I'll make a decision. On that one by the end of this game. Let's quickly go through some comments, and then we'll get into the MLB card. Let's quickly, B. Adabal saying, where is Melissa Mansfield? Yes, where is she? All right, let's see. Hako Schofield, any WNBA? Just discussed it. Dallas Starboss saying, Pete Russ from Irma, not much practice time last week. Yeah, sure. Yes, and again, it's I think that I don't necessarily think that Miami is a side that I want to bet here. It's just I would lean that way. I'm on the over. And then again, that might not cash. I'm just saying that the spot makes me nervous. spot makes me nervous. Feels like a bit of a letdown spot for Duke. Darryl Lyle saying Duke covered 8 of last 10, and Duke absolutely is not a team I like to bet against in a big-time game like this as a home underdog. So don't get me wrong. I didn't bet Miami. I'm just saying that if you gave me a free bet at the current line, I would probably take Miami, but I didn't bet it. My only bet on the game was on the over. Andrew Lavery says, I saw the video with you and Al. I like Al's pick with Washington State as the home dog. Al seems to like home dogs. Yeah, look, Al likes Washington State, and I believe that he actually also in the video mentioned that the line was probably going to get bet up, which it has. It's now 6 market wide. Andrew Lavery, you know that I said I like the under 65 in that one, and I did bet it. Just didn't have the balls to give it officially at that point or anytime since. And now if I give it, I'm going to have to give 61. So let's see. All right, let's get to MLB. Robert Johnson saying yesterday's games look tough going. Today far better. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah. Let's see what is going on today in MLB. All right, so Matt Harvey, first thing that jumps out at me, Matt Harvey, of course, making another start for Philly. And even with teams that are out of contention, you still don't know who's going to be in the lineup. So I'm going to be very, very careful about giving picks here. But you know, Matt Harvey is definitely a very favorable guy right now. So betting on Harvey to get hit again is something that strikes me as having some value. I did bet Philly -1 on the overnight line. Lively is no great shakes, but I'd rate him a notch better than Matt Harvey right now. And yeah, I would definitely be leaning Philly -1. We don't know who's going to be in the lineup for Philly, and that's an important thing to take note of. But I would definitely be leaning Matt Harvey and leading Philly -1 and also leaning to the team total overs. Let's see what those are. Philly is first 5 innings 2.5 -116, and the full game is 4.5 -117. So I'd be leaning to the overs in both of those. Cutting a little bit close there, but yeah. So I'd be leading Miami there for sure. And let's see what else is interesting. This guy Gohara, youngster for Atlanta, a lefty with strikeout stuff when he gets his control under control, which has happened recently, is making his next start for Atlanta against Miami. And Atlanta has absolutely been slumping out. They did not hit yesterday in a spot where against Peters, where they might have been in a good spot to have a nice offensive day. So I'm thinking about a shot with the under in that one as well. I did bet that one. I actually bet it at 9 on the overnight line, and now it is Pinnacle still has 9 -127. 5 times actually. UWager has -125. Australia's been a little bit off recently, but again, the Atlanta bats just aren't really hitting right now. They're kind of lethargic, and if we get a strong start from Gohara and an okay start from Australia, then the under probably cashes. It was more likely not to cash, I think. So that's definitely a bet that I made, and also maybe the Miami first 5 innings team total under for betting on Gohara to have another good start. 2.5 -107. Yeah, that's cutting it a little bit close. I will give the under though. Full game under, just a standard play, under 9, and I will take the UWager line -125. Pinnacle has 127. Bet online sports.ag have -127. I'll take under 9 in Atlanta, Miami -125, and I did bet that one on the overnight line. I think I got 118 or something, a little bit of a better line there. All right. Another game that looks interesting to me is the Cleveland and White Sox game, only because Trevor Bauer making another start, and the White Sox are looking to me like a team that doesn't have anything going on right now offensively. So I would be leaning to the first 5 innings under for the White Sox, just like I leaned first 5 innings under for Minnesota yesterday against Cleveland, and I'm feeling the same way here. Let me see if there are the first 5 inning totals aren't out yet that I'm seeing at Pinnacle. All right, so the first 5 inning team totals are not out yet, but I would definitely be leaning the White Sox first 5 innings under against Bauer. Let's see what else we have. Then another bet that I made, small bet on the overnight line, just a minimum bet. I did bet Oakland, Alcantara against Perez. Texas has really been slumping out. They have nothing. As the end of the regular season approaches, they've scored 10 runs in their last 7 games total, and Perez, a very vulnerable starter. Oakland does have some life to them, a lot of live young bats in that lineup. So I took a shot with Oakland as a small road dog. Alcantara has had a couple of nice appearances recently, and in general, it's just a bet on Oakland over Texas. Nice that I would also give a small starting pitching edge to Oakland as well, but I did bet that one. Not sure if I want to give that one as a pick either, though. Another game that's interesting is the Milwaukee St. Louis game. I'm liking the under on that one. I mentioned that I was leaning to the under on that one yesterday as well, but the lines weren't out, so I didn't have a chance to give that one as a pick. But Chase Anderson, Milwaukee is still in it, and St. Louis has now been eliminated. So we're not sure who's going to be in the lineup for St. Louis. They might put up all their big bats to try to play spoiler here, but Milwaukee still has something to play for. St. Louis was eliminated. We might see some bats out for St. Louis, and so I'm leaning the St. Louis team total unders on that one. Hold on, let me just pick up something here. Yeah. And then St. Louis is starting this new guy, Gant, who had some okay results in the minors. His major league strikeout numbers have not been good, but I think he might be okay anyway here. So I'm leaning under and maybe a little bit stronger. The St. Louis team total under. Let me find what the team totals for St. Louis would be right now. Let me see. Where is it? St. Louis. Come on, baby. Are they not out either yet? Jeez. Yeah, I guess those aren't out either yet. All right, let me just refresh here and see if maybe hold on one second. Let me just try to get these first 5 innings team totals somewhere, because as usual, those can have some of the best value anywhere in baseball of any of the bets that you can make in baseball, because you can really isolate value. Pitchers against hitters. Okay, yes, now they are out. Okay, great. All right, let me just check this. Here we go. There we go. All right, so let's see. The St. Louis team total under is 2. Let me hear. What the hell is it? American odds. Come on. St. Louis team total under, first 5 innings under, 2 minus 111. Yeah, that is very tempting for sure. And the full game St. Louis team total under is probably tempting as well, which is 3.5 plus 102. All right, so I don't know about that one. And then let me find some of the others that I was looking at. I was looking for the Miami. No, what was I looking at? The team totals that I was just looking at. Yeah, the White Sox is 1.5 minus 114. All right, that's cutting it a little bit close, but those are tempting. That's what I'm thinking about. I will make some final decisions on these in a second, but I'm looking at the entire MLB card here. Dodgers and Colorado is interesting. Colorado still has something to play for. The Dodgers don't, I believe, and it's Ryu against Bettis. Bettis, was great when he came back from his surgery, but then his next bunch of starts were terrible, as expected. His last start was a little bit better. I would be leaning to the under here, despite the fact that both Ryu and Bettis make me very, very nervous. Leaning to the under, leaning to the second half under as well. But again, we got to see who the Dodgers put in the lineup tonight. Anything is possible considering this spot in the season. Let's see, what else do we have here? What else is interesting? The Cubs and Cincinnati game is a game that I would be leaning to the under on. Quintana is coming off a great start. Not sure if he's in for a letdown here or not. Stevenson has had control issues, but he's been admirably able to pitch around his control issues. So I was slightly to the under on that one, although it is a low total of 7 or 7.5. Then Wade Miley is making his next start against Tampa Bay, and Miley has been absolutely terrible heading to the end of the regular season. So it could be worth a shot with the Tampa Bay first 5 innings team total over, and that's 2.5 minus 119. I mean, we have seen before Miley has been able to have unexpectedly good starts at times. Feel like that's not very likely here. Houston-Boston game had no overnight lines, and it's Morton against Pfister. Both those guys are pitching pretty well right now, Morton especially. So I have no opinion on that as of now. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit further later on. And then Arizona against KC. Arizona, I believe. What they are there. They still have something to play for, I believe. Wait, let me just refresh my notes here no, I'm sorry. What it is that Zach Greinke's coming off a terrible start. That's right, and he is slated to start the wild card game. So I'm thinking we might see a strong start from Kennedy here. Obviously, from Greinke here. Obviously, Kennedy has been terrible, and not really, no reason to expect anything else from him. So Arizona on the first 5 innings was also a play that I was thinking about as well. In addition to maybe the KC first 5 innings team total under, and let's see what that would be. That might be tempting if that's just 2. If we can get 2 on that one. KC first 5 innings team total under. Where is it? Yep, under 2 minus 109. So that's another tempting lukewarm lean that I have. All right, but again, it's a bizarre time in baseball. You have to check the lineups, and I'm not sure exactly which way I'm going to go with some of these picks. All right, so let's see. So to sum up baseball right now, and then we'll get to some comments. As of right now, the only picks I've given the under 9 in Atlanta, Miami. And I think that's the only pick that I have given so far Pretty strong lean, of course, to a Philly -1 and to the Philly first 5 innings team total over 2 at a line there. Decent lean to the Milwaukee St. Louis under and to the St. Louis first 5 innings team total under. Decent lean to Arizona first 5 innings and the KC first 5 innings team total under. And a decent lean to Oakland and Oakland on the second half. And a small lean to the White Sox first 5 innings team total under, although I don't like 1.5. That's cutting it a little bit too close for my liking. And, I guess I'd have to say that Tampa Bay on the first 5 innings team total over to hit Miley is also a lean. And that's about it. That's about it for MLB. I just have one official pick as of right now. May throw 1 or 2 more on by the end of this show. And again, in college football, I have thrown on Illinois +6 and the over 55 in Miami Duke. And again, I want to give the under in the USC Washington State game, but I'm just so annoyed at myself that I didn't have the balls to give the under 65 right in the Al McMorty show. Lock it in. Bam, lock it in. And now when the total 60 is half or 61, I can say, see, I told you. This is a tough, this is a tricky one. All right, so let's get to some other comments here. Let's see. All right, okay. Yeah, Dave Danders saying wait for the lineups at MLB today. Absolutely, that's of paramount importance in all these games, and not just with teams that have something to play for or have just gotten eliminated. Even with teams that have been out for a long time, there can be uncertainty when it comes to the lineups. Absolutely, that's absolutely true. All right, let's see. Al Hart asked about the San Diego-San Francisco total. No play on that one. It's I did look at that one. It's Andrew G said MLB equals 27 outs, too many variables, shitty umps equals bathtub. Right. Yeah, no, listen, you definitely got to play it carefully at this point. Lou Skunt saying, Pete, is there any way I can drop a question for you to answer on the Saturday show? Absolutely, Lou Skunt. Absolutely. Just drop it in here, baby. Drop it in here. Yes. Drop it in here. Blake Kersey saying, thanks, Pete. Use Brewers under 9.5. Nice parlay yesterday. Okay. I'm glad you hit that one, Blake Kersey. I didn't wind up giving that as an official pick. I just said that I wound up that I bet it and it was my lean. David H, WNBA. What can I say? I'm on Minnesota getting 3.5. It's Jesus Cabrera saying, Pete, let's smoke a blunt of Purple A's. Nothing to do with sports betting out. Okay, you got it, Jesus Cabrera. Southern Miss, North Texas total. Oh, Jesus, that's what Loose Cunt is asking about. Yes, obviously, I want to be on the over on that one because North Texas is probably not going to be able to hold down Southern Miss at all, and North Texas playing an up-tempo air raid style of game. Now, let me just check to see what the total is currently on that one. That's a total that I hope I didn't miss a line move on that one because I was looking at the wow, yeah, right, okay. So it's 61.5 now. Gotten bet down to 58 or 58.5. Bookmaker has 57.5. I'm going to look into that one, loose cunt. That's an interesting game. Obviously, it's an interesting total. North Texas, of course, has been is the kind of team that is going to go over against teams with crappy defenses because they're playing an up-tempo, high-paced air raid offense now, and against bad defenses, it will be effective. Interesting, though, very interesting. The total has crashed from 61.5 down to a 57.5 or 58. So yeah, that is very interesting. Loose Skunt, I just gave you my opinion on that one right now, and I will definitely look into that one more and definitely bring it up on the Saturday show. Although just looking at a line move, I'm worried that I might look into this one deeply and have nothing to say about it and just say line move spooks me and I'm staying way the hell off that one. But I will definitely look into that one. Lou Skunt, absolutely. All right, so. And I will go over some of the other college football leans that I had earlier in the week. I did mention earlier in the week another play that I didn't give early in the week that if I want to give, I'm going to have to give a worse line at was I mentioned the Oklahoma State Texas Tech total. I said it was 81. I bet it at 81. I bet it as soon as it came out at 81, and I mentioned that it was almost certain to get bet up at least a couple points, and it was 81, and that all happened, and now it's up to 84, 84.5, or I don't know if anyone has 85. But so now if I want to give it, I'm going to have to give the Greek line of 84 in my official record keeping. But that's how in these videos. But that's how this stuff goes. You got to pull the trigger, and if you don't pull the trigger, you run the risk of having to take a worse line or getting a better line and being on the better side of information. But yeah, so that's how this stuff goes. All right, so let's see. Yeah, all right. Let's see. Let me just look. Lou Skunt saying you are the best. I got Southern Miss minus 9.5. The line move beat me. Yeah, the side in that one is maybe even tougher. I mean, obviously North Texas is a is a crappy program, and Southern Miss is the kind of they covered against Kentucky earlier this year when a lot of people were liking Kentucky there. So I'm gonna have to look into that one. I didn't do my deep research into that one. I'm gonna have to look into it more later on. But I did do my preliminary research on all these games, Scott, so I can give my opinions from a preliminary perspective, but not necessarily from an in-depth perspective, which I think is really important. Then there's another game, Iowa, Michigan State. I can talk about that game right now. I was definitely wanting to take Michigan State here, but I've been waiting to take 3, and it did go down to 3 at the Greek and 5 dimes temporarily. I'm not sure if it's I think it might be up to 3.5 now, but I'm thinking that this is a bounce back spot for Michigan State. I think that the loss to Notre Dame might have taken less out of them than the disappointing loss that Iowa suffered to Penn State. So, this is going to be probably a low scoring tight game, which is why I really want the 3 instead of 3.5. But and I also bet the under at 45, and it's now down to 44.5, although I think the Greek still has 45. It should be a low-scoring game, and I'm liking under and Michigan State at -3 as well on that one. Let's see. What else do we have here? Let's see. What else do we have going on here? Anything else that is interesting? Let me see. Yeah. God damn it. Again, the line moved. I like the under in the Baylor-Kansas State game. I don't know if I talked about that. I liked it at 59 earlier. Now it's down to 55, 54.5. The Greek has 55.5. I may still give that one as a pick, even at the current line. But God, I got to be quicker on the draw with these. It's just the week goes by so quickly, and I don't want to give irresponsible picks, and I have to make sure I do my full comprehensive research for that day's games the night before. So I wind up putting off my in-depth research in college football until I have time to get to it, which sometimes winds up being not until Friday evening. That's the way this life goes. I did, though, give earlier in the week, thank you to Marty Ice. Marty Ice pushed me for a college football pick earlier in the week, and I did say at that point, I said, all right, fine, you want one? I'll give the under 52 in Northwestern Wisconsin. That one is now down to 48 or 48.5 or 49. So I'm glad that I did that one. That one is on my official record, and I'm glad that I gave that one. But, a bunch of these other picks, the lines have moved against me. Let's see. What else is interesting? Houston and Temple's an interesting game. There's something my gut says, and I'm looking into it a little bit more. My gut says that Temple might cover the 2-touchdown spread, that they're not as bad as they have looked so far, and they might look deep down inside, deep down inside of themselves, and find a way to hang within 2 touchdowns of Temple. That's a pick that I'm definitely thinking about, and that probably won't move at least by that definitely might move by 11 o'clock, especially if the sharps come in on it. But we'll see. That's definitely an interesting one. Let's see, what else do we? What other games do we got here in college football? Vaguely looking them over. Yeah, a lot of tough games. The Miami, Ohio, Notre Dame game, I was thinking about the over on that one. That one hasn't moved at all yet. Obviously, Notre Dame can roll over any defense at all. They will have no problem rolling all over Miami if they want to. And Miami, should be able to put up at least a few points, especially if it's a blowout late. So I was thinking about the over in that one at the 53 or 53.5. Some tough games this week, actually. Not a lot of games. Some days some weeks I'm in the beginning of the week loving like 15 or 18 picks and giving them all and tossing them all out there. But this week a little bit tougher. I'm still feeling like I'll have in the end a good record overall this week, and I am starting off the week 1-0, which is nice. And I got 2 plays going tonight, so hopefully. But yeah, so that's college football overall. Again, WNBA definitely on Minnesota plus 3.5. Not a lock, but just think that likely to go down to the wire as the first 2 games did. In the CFL, I took a shot with the under 50 in Saskatchewan, Ottawa, and the under 49.5 in Montreal and Calgary. I'm not exactly sure why the Montreal-Calgary game hasn't moved. I was sort of expecting it to, but it hasn't, and I'm on that one. And I also talked earlier in the week about how I was on the over in Toronto-Hamilton. That goes tomorrow on Saturday, over 50, and that's now up to a 50.5, 51, or 51.5. There's still some 50.5s available. I got 50, so those are 3 CFL totals plays that I am definitely on. And then in college football, all right, so I guess we pretty much covered everything except for my final picks here in baseball. I'll get some quick comments. Let's look at the comments, and then I will finalize my MLB picks for tonight, and that'll be it. Okay, let's see. I look up. They're still talking about strains of the kind. Kush is mainly indica from Dave Danders. Maybe we can have a sideshow where we just talk about mind-altering substances and other things. That might not be bad. Have all the regulars come in and do a 10-minute show every week or twice a week about subjects, everything except sports betting. That might be it. Yeah. Andrew G. Girl Scout cookies. That's my shit. That's my shit. Gorilla Glue crossed with blueberry crossed with Girl Scout cookies. That's my shit right there. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Yes. QQQ Wilson saying likes. Pete running out of mustache wax. Yes. It's and glue. Man, glue. There's actually a lot of things I do to make this as shiny as it possibly can be. All right. Let's see. Let me just see if I can find some legitimate sports betting questions here that I didn't ignore, so that if I can let me see. Let me just look to see if there's any. Oh, Darrell Lyles saying Virginia Tech. Okay, well, the Virginia Tech Clemson game, I am going to ask Brent from BetDSI about today in the DSI show. I would agree with you, Darrell Lyles. I would be liking Virginia Tech as well at anything, over 7, which I believe it is still 7. Let me quickly check the spread on that one. That's going to be a great game. I have that one circled as 7. A couple places have 7.5. Intertops has 7.5. So if you want Virginia Tech, yeah. I mean, Clemson is obviously great, but my sense is that they played a tight game last year. My sense is that Clemson a tick less good than last year. Virginia Tech a tick better than last year, and so I would be leaning Virginia Tech there as well. Although definitely could easily lose. All right, so let's see. Let me look at some of Darrell Lyles says he's on Duke tonight. Okay, Hako Schofield saying Astros low hanging fruit. Let's see. Comments. Wow, people still talking about. People love the Astros. People love to talk about the Astros, baby. All right, let's see. All right, I think that's about it. I think I might just. All right, let me just look at this MLB card to make sure I only want to go with that one play, under 9 in Atlanta and Miami. Again, definitely leaning Philly to hit Harvey. I mean, Harvey has just got nothing. That one could be a loser, but I'll take it. I'll take that one. I'll take it. Lively's probably going to get hit as well, but I will take Philly -1. It's a dog line right now. Harvey just looks like he has nothing. The Mets actually usually do well against Philly, so it's not such a great idea to take Philly here. My sense is that I'm willing to fade Harvey, so I'll take that one at plus the money. That one might be a loser, but if it is, what the hell? Right now, I'm seeing -130 at Pinnacle on the money line, and the run line part would be plus 158 at Pinnacle. So that's a small underdog line there for Philly -1. I'll throw that one on there. In the Baltimore-Tampa Bay game, definitely leaning Tampa Bay first 5 innings team total over, but I'll hold off on that one for now. Atlanta Miami game, I gave it on the under 9 -125. The White Sox game, I'll pass on. The Oakland Texas game. Yeah, that one is very tempting to take Oakland, but you know what? I'll just stay off of that one. You don't know what's going to happen. Definitely a lean on Oakland, though. Let's see. The Arizona KC game, Greinke, he's off a bad start. He's got to get it moving. Let me just quickly check what it was 2, right? Team total under was 2 for Zach Greinke. Yeah, you know what? I'll hold off of that one, too. No reason to force any of this shit. Milwaukee, St. Louis. That is definitely a game that I was liking on the under. St. Louis, I'm definitely here. Let me just quickly check one thing, boys. We're about to wrap this up. I just need to check one quick thing. Let me check my number on that game. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Ugh, I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one as well. That one, just I'll keep it as a lean. Yeah, I'll just keep it as a lean. Keep it very simple. Just 2 plays. There have been many days this year when I've given 8, 10, 15, 20 MLB plays and just gone nuts. Today, I'm just going to keep it at 2 plays. Miami, Atlanta, under 9, -125, and Philly, -1 at nice plus money. And once again, in college football, I am going with 2 plays officially. And as far as the Washington State game at 61, I guess I'm going to hold off on that one for now. It just looks a little bit too iffy there at 61. So hold off on that one for now. Just go with 2 plays. Miami, Duke over 55, and Illinois plus money. BYU, Utah State. I'm holding off of just 2 MLB plays today, but a lot of leans, and I might be betting a bunch of these when the lineups do get announced closer to first pitch. We'll see. If I have any of those, maybe I'll tweet them out, but more likely I'll just be crunching up college football numbers for tomorrow morning's show with Big Man on campus at 11 a.m. Eastern time, where hopefully I'll have a bunch of picks that I'm liking, even at the lines available at that point, which I'll add to my official record. Overall on the year, I'm 29-20 in my public picks here in college football, 4-1 in NFL. That's going to be at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, right here at the Sportsbook Review with Big Man on campus. College football tomorrow, 11 a.m. Watch that one. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the positive comments, and we'll see you on Monday.